Today, guys, we are talking about 5 technical tips to increase the power of your round kick so that when you throw it up, heads are rocking. All right, guys, 5 technical tips today to make sure your kicking power is on point. If you're lacking even one of these, your kicking power is just gonna go way down. You need to make sure everything that I say in this video is on point, and then you're gonna have that power that you want. First off, when we throw our kick, I feel like a lot of times people are kind of like, get my kick up, and now focus on generating power. But we need to think that this foot off the ground, it's almost like we're sprinting, and we're on the sprinting block. And as soon as that gun goes off, boom, we push off that leg. Same thing here, this foot that's on the floor, I need to push up to generate that initial force. If I just kind of lift my leg, I'm lacking a lot of power that can be created by snapping that leg off. You can almost see here, or you can see here, if you look at my foot, I don't go flat-footed and just lift. I get to the ball of my foot and I force it up. And that will start a chain reaction which will move the energy from my foot up to my hips and then into my leg. Next up, we're talking about the pivot. Most people pivot, but not nearly enough. When I throw this kick up, this foot needs to go, that's my minimum, 90 degrees. I went from pointing there to there. Anything less than that, and I've completely destroyed my power and energy. I prefer to open the hips up even more. If I only pivot 45 degrees, look what my hips do. That's as far as I can pretty much get through, right to there. I want to pivot 180 and be able to let my leg completely sail through so that when I strike whatever target I'm aiming for, whether it's pads or head, my kick is not limited by under pivoting. I want to be able to sail right through because this foot opened my hips up and maximized my power right through the target, right back to where I started. That is another way to massively increase your kicking power, and it could be off the back leg, it can also be on the front leg if I'm kicking body level. Massive pivot to open up those hips. Before we move on to the next point, guys, if you haven't already, please be sure to give the video a like. It helps the channel grow, helps support everything I'm doing. I really appreciate it. Now, we've talked about the lower body, and that's great, but what about the upper body? If I limit myself to my hands staying right here, locked to my head, and I do everything I just said, I'm still not generating as much force as I need. So the opposite arm from the kicking leg, that needs to stay tight to the head. That's very important. If I don't do that, I expose my face to a potential round kick. So this hand stays up, but my other hand, I definitely don't want to just leave it here. I can generate so much force by whipping down and shooting that shoulder forward, which will then help my hip pop and get some extra power. So that when I swing through, it's not just here, but it's right through and down. If you guys see me from this side, you'll note just how far I throw my arm down. It whips back as hard and as far as I can. Now, do you need to do this every time? Absolutely not. If you're throwing a low kick, a body round kick, head kick, you can pick and choose when you want to do that, depending on if you think there's a counter shot coming. If I'm at a low kick range and I'm going to worry about punches coming, I might choose to keep this hand here to protect myself. If I'm further back and I go, you know what, there's no counter shot, sure, I'll whip my hand right down. Next up, we need to practice aiming through the target. If you are a martial artist who has worked years and years of flick, flick, and you're only going about that far through the target, and then all of a sudden you think, okay, well, I'm going to add a little bit further through, and you aim that far through the target, that's still not enough. We want to take this kick and not aim right to here. Just like when I punch, I don't want to aim right to here, I want to aim through. Same thing on the kick, we're coming right through. Don't stop at the head. Stop when your foot gets back down to the ground, so that when I throw my kick, this head just gets locked off to the side. Right back to there. That's the way I'm going to make sure that I generate as much force as possible, aim through that target. And last but certainly not least, with everything else we've done, we put the stamp on the power. We make it 100% by adding that maximum speed. I always tell my kids program, how do we create power? Number one, we add follow through right through that target, and number two, we put the speed in. If we do the two of them, not just follow through slow and not just speed to the target, but we go through with speed, that's how we end up creating some real power. How do I get the speed going? Well, first off, like we talked about, push right from the ground to get my foot up as high as I can. Once my leg's way up here, now I've already done most of the work. I just need to remember that that snap needs to be quick. Don't forget about that extension of the leg. That's going to be the speed, that extra little pop, which is created to really put the stamp on the power. So to sum it up, guys, we work push off the back leg, pivot off the front leg, arm swing off the arm that matches the leg. I go through the target and I get that speed by snapping my leg. If I can put all that together, boom, we have a power kick. And that's all from me, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, if you think it's gonna be helpful, it's gonna give you some extra power in those kicks, please be sure to give it a like. If you haven't already, join the channel and get subscribed for lots of content coming at you daily right now. As always, guys, train hard. I'll see you back here soon for another video.